Hi, my name is Zenzi. This is going out to the Misters Mate, directly Daniel, and subsequently Gabor. This is about using public philosophy and creativity to address global public trauma. And in fact, I've got a new phrase for that. Current, chronic, complex trauma stress disorder. You know, with all of our focus on PTSD, who's out there solving trauma right now? I'm coming to you guys as an outsider, outlier who has experienced her own personal evolution in consciousness. And I mean that as literally as possible. Let's start with a quote from Princeton physicist, student of Niels Bohr, teacher of Richard Feynman, John Archibald Wheeler, Geons, black holes, and quantum foam. Let me quote. It's kind of a poem. To my mind, there must be, at the bottom of it all, not an equation, but an utterly simple idea. And to me, that idea, when we finally discover it, will be so compelling, so inevitable, that we will say to ourselves, "Oh, how beautiful. How could it have been otherwise?" That's John Archibald Wheeler, Princeton physicist. Especially the Niels Bohr, I think they did their own MT over there in Copenhagen. All right. I've sorted the hard problem of consciousness into an easy pivot. And it saved my life again and again and again. And I'm asking you, Misters Mate, if you will be part of an episode, a prequel to my Netflix streaming series, #Breaking Brilliant. Whereas those men made meth, this woman wakes wisdom. I'm the one that shouts, "Mama says knock you out." Don't call it a comeback. I'm fresh princed from scratch. Everything I do is held to the standards of His Holiness, the Dalai Lama. This is book, The Universe in a Single Atom. We concur. My definition of consciousness, which is very secular and based on a Carnegie Mellon philosophy degree, decades of software consulting, and now pro bono decade of serious quantified self, biohacking, going through everything that all these men who are rich have produced and going, it don't make sense philosophically. It just doesn't hold together. So, pardon me for a second. I've got to pull in, and of course, the myth of normal is what I'm addressing here. We're going to pull in beyond the Dalai Lama. This is my Pacific Grove neighbor, Ben Jealous. Never forget our people were always free. He was the youngest ever head of the NAACP and currently head of the Sierra Club. One of the things in his, and he came at this from the government and public service angle. One of the things that he said, and he is biracial, is that finding the white person experiencing dehumanization is a great way to get the media and everyone to pay attention. Well, I've discovered I don't qualify as white, which is a great thing, by the way. I seceded from whiteness a long time ago. You guys know it's the economic system. I like to call it plantation capitalism. And what the economic system of plantation capitalism is based on is not solely white supremacy. White supremacy is a crime and we need the FBI. That's number one domestic terrorism. That should be criminalized. But that doesn't solve our problem. There's the vast mental delusions of whiteness. It's not the Western thought tradition. It's the whiteness thought tradition that is about to self-extinct our species in less than 30 years. Things are bad. You guys know it, and very few people are facing it, and I have a lot of heart. Could we talk about just filming one conversation, the three of us, that is sort of a prequel to Breaking Brilliant, to get some of these things out and to have you guys, philosopher, doctor, trauma expertise, mental chiropractors, have you guys listen to my theory of consciousness and give me a... You're gonna... Based on 2 simple catchphrases. We are all African ancestrally. Free thinking is priceless. And free expression. And the way to get all this data out there, you know it. The establishments aren't changing. They're not built to change. We got to change the global zeitgeist, the consensus of adults across every nook and cranny of Earth. Want anything to do with climate change, and climate change is not going to kill us, by the way. It's technology. I am a Carnegie Mellon degree philosopher. Let's keep this in mind. I am no Luddite. I am, though, apparently the only one with the balls and the breasts to be able to say, look, these dumb handsets have devolved human intelligence. It's so perversive that nobody's even seeing it. We're living through a hashtag neurodemic. I got my own lexicon. I've got all my own things I want to do. Stand up philosophy. This is where when the lyricist met the Globe's original consulting will-being philosopher. All right. Brain science is involved in this. This Norman Deutsch book, it's really, I don't know if anyone, it should be like, we should have a club scene. I've said it, where we come and read a chapter every night. We get through the myth and normal. Really deep dive into this. Same with the brain's way of healing. This is explains my autism, why my autism is the one that could solve consciousness. Explains how having a theory of consciousness is keeping me alive. It's how minds make bodies well. Very lucrative stuff I'm talking about here. And what I want to do is not just be my own little personal talking head. It's great. Especially when it's somebody like Gabor Mate being excerpted around the globe. This is great. What I propose to do is a thought experiment made visual. Gabor, I can help you get your facial expression back. It's practical stuff. Spill the beans right here for everyone else, but seriously, between you and Daniel, it'll be like, oh. Now, I've done it myself. I was 333 pounds when I turned 50. I just turned 56. I've been through 3 80-pound plus body transformations in these 6 years. Because, I really do believe that, as my birthday mate, Shaka Khan, very nearly sang, I'm every human. And in this way that I feel like I can bound up to international superstar of trauma healing and addiction solving, Gabor Mate, because I've read your brain. And your son's brain, Daniel. And Daniel, for 2 years, I've been saying to myself, contact. And I didn't realize you had a philosophy degree. That changes the whole thing. Also, that you then were able to choose to become a lyricist. And I'm asking you for current trauma solving, which is to help me network into the world where I can get paid for my work. I've done so much pro bono research, so much pro bono creativity. And because I don't judge people superficially, I had no idea that simply having the adjective homeless added to the vast delightfulness that is me, I had no idea that that one word was a death sentence. And it has been. I'm about to approach 4 years, and so I need to kind of slide right into your schedule. But this is for real. This is for the species. This is quite literally. And back to the science that nobody's talking about. And I do occasionally read philosophy, although I think that this has been a really good selection. What do I got here? 6 books. This is what my heart says. These are the books that you must be friends with, since no humans will talk to you. David Abram, The Spell of the Sensuous. Socrates was illiterate. He had to be. The alphabet was invented during his lifetime. And Socrates in the Phaedrus was incredibly worried about the way that the oral tradition was collapsing into the particleness of words. I want to stand on a stage, stand up philosophy, talk about these things, bring your book, bring all the good work in the world, and talk about them deeply. We've got to raise the level of intellectualism of all adults across the globe. We are the generation of humans who must solve everything. But it's not going to be the case that we can fix democracy. Because plantation capitalism has worked so well that the multinationals are beyond any nation state whatsoever. And while technology should have enabled us to make friends across the globe, when it was utilized in these for-profit ways, it's done our heads in, as the Brits would say. Luckily, I am so autistic, and I have so much sensory overwhelm that I was a hermit for the decade before the pandemic. And I got better just as the pandemic started. March is my birthday, as I just stated, and I had evaporated 150 pounds in the 15 months after turning 50 to get locked in from the pandemic. That subsequently made me homeless, and then subsequently my devices are all obsolete. Spend absolutely 175% of my energy just figuring out how to survive on $150 a month. My story is highly important, and it deserves a really big premiere, like, you know, build rapport and trust. One called it Tim Ferriss. We're just the 3 of us. You've got documentary people. I've got a lot of things. The Netflix streaming special, executive produced. Then we can actually build a company that solves current trauma, the complex kind. That addiction and suicide. I've been right up there. Been right to it. And it's because the complexity of what a human's going through and the stick figureness of the help you can get from the system are incompatible. And as things get worse and worse and worse, people will start avoiding you. You will become an absolute pariah to all the hustle people. The more you need help, the less likely it is that you will get help. Or you can get medicated and numbed and dumbed. But to solve your actual problem, all people will do is like force me to go to the charity system. I have work here I should be invested in as a creative philosopher. Vice president of the head of the Public Philosophy Network. I don't have time to talk to you until May. I don't know how to stay alive until May. I don't have the resources. I don't have the energy. I have had men with guns order me out of my vehicle for sleeping where somebody doesn't want to look at me. I'm sleeping. I'm having an actual anaphylactic local. Who talks about local anaphylactic? If it was the poison of the air freshener in the bathroom. It must have just the time of just as I walked by, because it was an intense, and you can see in the video I made the men with guns harassing me. I can't speak barely. I'd been up all night worried what the hell is happening to me. And in a public state park, conference resort, where I'm too sick to drive, they send men with guns at me. That's back to the civil rights stuff and my neighbor Ben Jealous and his godbrother Dave Chappelle. Been well over 5 years I've been doing the hashtag Chappelle Challenge, is to be able to do stand-up, philosophical, complex, long-form content. The world has went so crazy with all this small little stuff that really so Daniel, just philosopher to a philosopher, and I'm building an entercation empire, Breaking Brilliant. It's going to need some theme music. It's going to need, a lot of things. Because it's creativity first. The whole species, our brain, the human adult brain is not capable of being told what to do for 40 hours a week. Oh yeah, sure, once or twice, but to spend your life like that, then you don't know how to vote. Then you don't know how to stand up for what's right. Then you think that you are doing the right thing. It's exactly what you said at the end of the book on Eichmann. This guy is violating not just my civil rights, but my actual ability to stay alive. I am so traumatized by the chemical scents, and this has just happened after the pandemic. There's a Sacklers going on they're pumped into all the big box stores. And they're neurotoxic. They are, and they're taking the kids into these big box. They are poisoning us. Autistic meltdowns performed to really feel vibrationally the harm of the Industrial Revolution. Powerful stuff on a stage. And Gabor, get this. I can take the baton from the Shipipu, great word. I don't know how to pronounce it. The Peruvian shamans. I feel so connected to our indigenous ancestors. Most specifically for me, the San of the Kalahari Desert. There's a real, those ancestors, original ones, are now basically the first of us 200,000 years ago. That's why my payroll name is debhelfrich.squarespace.com. My chosen soul name, Zenzile Londolozi. These are Zulu words that convey. I am responsible for who I've become, the protector of all living beings. You know anything about Hindu Kali? The Tibetans have green Tara. The wise feminine destroyer of all the harm that rebirths the species. This is, in our own lingo of 2025, we need a species-level global hive mind of my proprietary brand of thinking. Billions of dollars income stream. Life-centric thinking, which leads us beyond the money-matters-most-masculinity of stuff-centric thinking. Y'all holler at me. I'm looking forward to a quick, efficient collaboration, and I'll make you proud. I'll make the whole damn species proud. And we will see the horror of judging any human based on an external circumstance. That's what I want to prove. And that's my trauma. And that's where even one conversation with either one of you, especially one with both of you, is recorded. That's what I need to stay alive. Harmony, this has been Zenzi.